Warning: the following fanfic reading is for mature audiences only. It contains mature subjects such as grief, death of loved ones, discrimination, alcoholism, and gore. Viewers' discretion is advised. The Legend of Spike, Discourse Mask, written by Diablo Guapo. Chapter 7, Anger Cycle, Final Day. Dawn of the final day, 24 hours remaining. The light from the morning sun shone through the fog and trees of the southern forest. The vapors made the light seem almost tangible. Spike had been rowing along the raft all through the night. He started to debate with himself if he should have waited until first light to travel to the temple. If he left then, he would have been able to see where he was going. However, it would mean losing valuable time. Spike's decision to venture forth at night caused him to get lost in the mire. Cranky had told him to follow the current upstream to the source. Since he couldn't see anything, he had to rely on feeling how the current was pulling the raft to navigate. This led him to go around in circles and bump into many trees along the way. Now that he could see, he stopped to get his bearings. In the distance, he could faintly see the temple through the mist. With renewed faith and better sight, Spike navigated towards his destination. As he approached the temple, he saw that the structure was covered in vegetation. As Cranky had mentioned, it did appear that the toxic water was indeed flowing from the building like an infection. The foul stench of the water intensified as he drew closer. There was no question about it. Whatever curse Nightmare Moon had placed on the forest, the source was inside the temple. However, that wasn't the only thing that was in there. If Nightmare Moon's curse was present, then that means it was safeguarding a portion of Princess Celestia's power. If a part of the White Alicorn's power was there, then the element of kindness was there as well. Of course, there were also 2 ponies trapped inside. Sweetie Belle and...
Rarity.
Of course, this world's Rarity wasn't the one that rejected him, but the fact that she was engaged to the loathsome Prince Blueblood troubled Spike. So far, the ponies in this world were very similar to the ones back home in Equestria. Sure, some had different occupations, but they seemed to have the same personalities. If this Rarity would agree to marry some pony as despicable as Blueblood, then that meant that she could in his world. Spike gripped the oar harder in anger.
She's probably already engaged to that Mr. Wonderful Count High and Mighty.
You don't know that!
What makes you think otherwise?
You don't know what she will or won't do.
I guess you're right. I don't. I didn't expect that she would, in this or any other parallel universe, marry Blueblood. Or maybe I should. That's what she seems to be into. I tried to tell her that I love her, and she pushed me away because I was a dragon.
At least you know I'll never get the chance.
To do what?
To tell her that I love her.
What? You're in love with Rarity. I mean, this world's Rarity.
Spike couldn't take the secrecy anymore.
All right. Who are you?
Haven't you figured it out? What do you think is the reason why I have been with you since Nightmare Moon turned you into a unicorn?
Because you're the spirit of the unicorn mask?
No. I wasn't a mask until you played the song and freed me from my pain and freed yourself from the unicorn curse.
Wait, only I was turned into a unicorn? Then what are you?
I am you.
Me? You're me! How can you be me? Am I going crazy?
Well, You are talking out loud to yourself.
Wait! You're this world's Spike! What happened to you?
Do you remember the tree that you passed by in the caves underneath Clocktown? Nightmare Moon turned me into it. When she cursed you, my trapped spirit was bound to you and to the curse, because technically, we're the exact same dragon.
But why are you a unicorn?
Remember how the merchant said the Song of Healing heals curses and troubled spirits? It did exactly that, but each of us only got half of it. It healed your curse because you have a body, and it soothed my soul because that's all I am, a soul.
Together, the healing spell is complete, but individually...
It's incomplete, yes. I'm still a unicorn, or at least I am when you use my power.
Is there a way to free you from the unicorn mask?
I think the only way to do that is for us to defeat Nightmare Moon.
Can I ask you something?
Yes?
Why didn't you want Twilight to know who we were?
I didn't want her to know what happened to me. She's already been through a lot since Blue Blood became even more of a jerk. He's become prejudiced against anyone who isn't a unicorn, and he even treats them with contempt. He had me banished from the castle. She wanted to come with me, but I convinced her to stay. She was the only pony who could keep him somewhat in check. I traveled to Clocktown, but I ran into Nightmare Moon. I thought that I could impress Rarity by stopping her, but I ended up failing.
Why bother with Rarity? She's obviously in love with Blue Blood.
She wasn't engaged when I left a few days ago. She doesn't even like him.
So why is she marrying him?
I don't know. But please, don't tell them that I'm dead.
Dead? You're dead?
The combined curse on both of us has left me without a body. So, yes, I'm dead.
But shouldn't the Song of Healing have fixed that?
Apparently not. Like you said, together we're complete. Individually, we're still cursed. I'm still a unicorn, and your soul is still troubled.
My soul isn't troubled.
Can you honestly say that?
Forget it. Besides, we're here already.
Spike could feel the spirit shake its ethereal head at him, pityingly. Spike stood before the temple, mentally preparing himself for the challenge that surely waited inside for him. The cult turned his attention to the door and to the magical lock upon it.
How did it go again?
He charged his horn and placed it in the first hole.
1.
He heard a musical chime, and the hole began to glow. This process repeated with the other holes as he unlocked them in order.
2. 1. 2. 5. 3. 5.
After all of the locks had been opened, the door rumbled. The giant stone slab rose, revealing the temple's interior. Spike used his horn to illuminate the dark chamber. The air was stale and cobwebs were everywhere. Spike wondered if the temple was booby-trapped, just like in the Daring Do novels. He then wondered why any pony would booby-trap a temple. Weren't temples places of worship? Why would sacred places have elaborate death traps? Just as Spike thought about these things, he felt a tug on his hoof as it got caught on a tripwire.
Oh, pony feathers!
He grumbled seconds before a giant blade swooped down from the ceiling.
Whoa!
Just barely missing his head. It was a good thing that this trap was apparently built for grown ponies, or he would literally be a head shorter. Surviving this near-death encounter, the lucky adventurer proceeded with more caution. He would carefully place one hoof down at a time as he crept along the passageway. Every so often, he could come across a tripwire. The light from his horn caused them to cast shadows on the floor. He carefully stepped over them as he went by. Finally, he came to the center of the temple. Sure enough, there was a stone orb resting on the altar. With extreme caution, he approached the element. He wondered if some giant boulder would start rolling after him as soon as he touched it. After taking a long breath, he placed his hooves on the orb. As with the other element, he found himself in a dark void.
Hello, Spike.
Hey, Fluttershy!
As he had expected, the element of kindness had conjured the image of its bearer from Spike's world. The yellow Pegasus with a long pink mane emerged from the darkness.
It's so good to see you.
You are not the real Fluttershy.
This caused the Mirage to lower her head sadly.
I know. I'm sorry. I wish that the real me was here for you.
Spike felt guilty when he saw her hurt expression. It said,
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that.
It's okay. I understand.
A glowing pink gemstone materialized beside her.
You're here for this?
Yes, I'm ready. Let's get started.
Are you sure? I mean, I don't want to see you in pain.
Tears had started to fall from her face.
Even though I'm not real.
Fluttershy, I'm sorry, but I have to do this. Lives are at stake.
Fluttershy gave him one last look of sympathy, and then the scene changed. Spike was now in the middle of the Everfree Forest, and he was a dragon again. He looked around, wondering what sort of test he was in. Then he could smell the rotten breath of Timberwolves. The vicious creature entered the clearing, bearing their wooden fangs at him.
You guys again? You want a piece of me? I'm not afraid of you guys anymore.
The Timberwolves charged the dragon. Spike stood his ground and unleashed his fiery breath upon his attackers. The wolves howled in agony and ran away. The flames that consumed them spread to the shrubbery and the trees of the forest. Birds took flight, and critters scurried away as their homes were set ablaze. Spike watched in horror as he saw the fire he used to attack his enemies start to destroy the forest. The fire didn't stop with the Everfree Forest, but went on to raze Ponyville to the ground. Spike was forced to watch as ponies shriek in agony as their fur and flesh was burnt away, leaving a horrible stench in the air. Spike walked through the remains of Ponyville. Town Hall, Sweet Apple Acres, Sugarcue Corner, Fluttershy's Cottage, Carousel Boutique, and even Golden Oak's library. It was all gone. He walked down the ruined streets of his home, looking for any survivors, but he didn't find any. All that was left were charred remains of ponies with expressions of agony and terror frozen on their faces. Applejack, Granny Smith, Big Macintosh, and Apple Bloom were holding each other in an embrace as they were consumed by the flames. Pinkie Pie and the Cake family were held together as well. Spike saw a rainbow-colored tail coming from underneath a pile of debris. Apparently, Rainbow Dash was crushed during an attempt to save ponies in a burning building. Twilight was clutching the burnt remains of books in a vain attempt to save them.
No!
Rarity was pinned under a fallen support beam. Seeing that his friends had met with a horrible demise, Spike felt like he was going to be sick.
I think I'm going to be sick.
After emptying the contents of his stomach, he heard a noise. He looked over to a collapsed building and saw a timberwolf with a leg caught underneath the rubble. It whimpered in distress and tried to pull itself free to no avail. His heart filled with rage as he stared at the creature that was the source of all his pain. Spike walked over to the trapped beast and prepared to incinerate it. He took in a deep breath, but stopped when he saw the look on the wolf's face. It was afraid. It was trapped and helpless. Spike sighed in defeat and removed the rubble from the wolf's leg. It ran off, leaving him alone in the ashes.
Why did you spare the Timberwolf?
Spike turned to see Fluttershy approaching him. Her coat was covered in soot, and the tips of her hair were singed. She was also cradling the blackened body of what used to be her beloved pet, Angel Bunny.
You could have easily killed it.
Because it wasn't his fault. It was mine.
Why was it your fault?
It was my fire, my anger that did this.
He said, gesturing to the ruined town.
I killed them all.
Spike.
I'm a monster.
Spike, please.
It's the truth, isn't it?
He raised his voice as he snapped his head to look her in the eye.
Look! What do you see?
I see a dragon who is angry. But not at the Timberwolves.
Then what am I angry at?
Who do you think?
Rarity.
Why?
She rejected me. She doesn't love me.
As they spoke, the grisly scene faded away, and Spike was in the void talking to Fluttershy, who was now free of soot.
That doesn't mean all is lost. You can't force love upon any pony. And love isn't simple. It's complicated. You see, love can grow where it wasn't before. But it also can wither away where it once thrived. It can come from places you'd least expect. And it can be right in front of you, hiding in plain sight. If you try to force love on some pony, you will only push them away. If you resolve to use anger, you will end up pushing every pony away. Don't give up on love so easily, Spike. You're a wonderful dragon, with a big heart. It would be terrible if it was filled with anger.
The vision ended, and Spike found himself in the temple once more. The orb was gone, and the element of kindness was on his right foreleg like a bracer. A gem butterfly was set in the golden bracer, Even though Spike had succeeded in passing the test, he was still shaken from the vision. Spike called out to the portion of the alicorn's power.
Princess Celestia? Are you there?
Yes, Spike, I am here. Well done. You have obtained another element and lifted the curse on the forest by doing so. As soon as we return to the beginning, I'll reunite with the rest of myself.
Yes, but first, I still have business to take care of.
Spike knew that 2 unicorns were still trapped within the temple.
Now, where do you suppose...
As soon as he stepped away from the altar, he fell through a trap door and onto a slide.
Whoa!
He slid down, shouting in surprise until he came to a sudden stop. He groaned as he lifted himself up. He had fallen through a chute and landed on the hard, stone floor of another chamber. Before him were 2 white unicorns. The filly, with a 2-toned purple and pink mane, was crying and shivering in fear as her elder sister comfortingly stroked her mane as she held her. Noticing that they had company, the mare with a violet mane spoke.
Who are you?
I'm here to save you.
Hearing this, the filly immediately sprung up.
Save? You hear that, sis? We're saved!
She sped to the exit of the chamber.
Come on, Rarity! The door must be open!
They followed the filly to the entrance.
Wait, how do you know where the traps are?
Oh, we're very familiar with the temple. Every unicorn is. The traps are meant for burglars. Every pony knows not to take the main path to the shrine.
They went up a flight of stairs and they came out through an archway that led them into the front chamber.
You take the back way.
Spike face-hoofed hard. He went through the more elaborate and decorative archway, leading him through a death trap-filled corridor when he could have taken a less elaborate one. If he had, he would have gone down the stairs, through a hallway, found the ponies, went up another set of stairs, and been at the altar.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. I need to get you 2 home. Your fiancé is expecting you.
Fiancé? Why didn't you tell me you were getting married?
Sweetie Belle then started to bounce up and down with excitement.
Oh, can I be a flower girl? How about a bridesmaid? No, the maid of honor. Sweetie Belle, I am not engaged.
You're not? But Prince Blueblood said you were his fiancé.
The look on Rarity's face could best be described as an unholy union of anger and disgust.
Here we go.
Sweetie Belle said as she braced herself.
That treacherous, deceitful wretch! He's the one who locked us here in the first place!
What?
He proposed to me a few days ago, but I rejected him. I would never marry some pony as detestable as him. When we entered the temple, I heard something behind us. I saw him hiding in the bushes. Before I could say something, he's at the door, locking us in. Oh, I hope Mr. Donkey is okay.
That's the thing. He's using Cranky to cover up your disappearance by saying that he full-napped you. He's to be executed at sundown.
Spike had seen pure rage a few times before. He had seen it when Twilight was trying to observe Pinkie Pie's pinky sense. He had heard that Pinkie Pie went ballistic when she thought that Applejack had broken a pinky promise. Fluttershy had supposedly transformed from an angel of kindness to a demon of rage at the Grand Galloping Gala. Rarity's reaction could be listed among with these as a genuine case.
What?
The raft sped down the now clean river like a rocket. The foals did their best to hold on as Rarity used her rage-fueled magic to propel the raft at incredible speeds. The sun began to lower the western horizon as the trio arrived at the palace. In the throne room, a crowd was gathered around a large, boiling vat of oil. Cranky Doodle Donkey was suspended over the bubbling pot as Prince Blueblood smirked with satisfaction.
Guards, drop this insufferable donkey in the pot.
He was about to give the order, but the doors to the throne room flew open.
Who dares to?
The snobbish prince started to bark angrily, but he froze in sheer, utter terror when he saw who was standing in the doorway. Rarity seethed in fury, her mane frazzled from being trapped for a few days, and her normally white face was crimson red.
Oh, dear Lady Rarity, who I should have killed. I didn't mean it. I mean, anyway, it's so good that you're safe, alive, back here to the palace. Don't mind the donkey. It's nothing.
You!
Oh.
Blueblood gulped, knowing that he had been found out. He started to run away, but one of his back hooves was caught in a magenta aura, causing him to stumble.
Oops.
Twilight casually stated as her horn glowed magenta with magic. This delayed his escape for a second, but that was all it took before Rarity was on top of him. She raised a hoof and began to slap and backhoof the prince with each syllable that she spoke, and he cried out in pain with each blow. Meanwhile, Spike had covered Sweetie Belle's eyes. You foul, contemptible, disgusting, pompous, greedy, despicable, slanderous, boorish, hate, chauvinistic. Rarity screamed as she assaulted the prince. She reared back and uppercut Blueblood, sending him flying as she yelled out the final word, "Tyrant!" That's karma, bitch! Blueblood landed with a thud upon his own throne. Blood and snot ran down from his nose and onto his perfectly groomed white coat. His tongue lolled out of his mouth that was now missing some teeth.
No, Mommy, I don't want sprinkles on my fish cake.
He moaned like a brainless buffoon as his eyes rolled around before passing out. The guards approached the aggressive mare, but she spun around with an evil glare. The hardened soldiers nearly soiled themselves and stopped dead in their tracks. What do you think you are doing? Untie that poor donkey at once! They obediently saluted and did as she said.
Thanks, kid.
Cranky said to Spike as the donkey was reunited with his dear Matilda. After he was released, Twilight Sparkle took charge of the palace. She had the fallen prince locked in the dungeon once it was revealed what he had done. A banquet was held in commemoration of the rescue of Rarity and Sweetie Belle. Matilda and Sakura had been invited to the celebration.
Thank you, Spike, for helping rescue us. And of course, helping save this unicorn palace from the clutches of Prince Blueblood.
You're welcome.
Spike said as he finished stuffing his face. He then saw the clock and jumped with alarm.
This has been great, but I gotta go.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I had hoped that you would stay a little longer so that I could properly thank you. But if you must go, then I wish you a safe journey.
I'll walk him out.
Spike followed her to the exit of the castle.
I can't thank you enough for what you have done for us. Tomorrow is my brother's wedding. Unfortunately, I won't be able to attend. I have to find my son.
Your son?
Yes, even though he's a dragon, I've always seen Spike as my child. I hatched him, raised him, taught him, cared for him, and most importantly, loved him. I have to find him. I need to tell him how I feel about him.
Spike, being struck by Twilight's words, frowned. He wondered if his Twilight felt the same for him.
Well, goodbye, my friend.
See you later.
Good night, Mom.
Once she was out of sight, Spike pulled away from the power of the mask. He felt extreme relief as his bones shifted to their natural frame. It was like he was crammed into a tight space and was finally able to stretch out again. Once he was a dragon again, he pressed the button on the side of the amulet. Ponyville, Day 2, 6 o'clock a.m. Applejack knocked on the door of Golden Oak's library. She figured that Twilight was already awake and was ready to begin the search again. If Applebloom went missing, she would be anxious to find her too. She opened the door and walked in.
Twilight, you up yet?
Indeed she was. In fact, she was there in the main room with a ton of books scattered everywhere.
Twi?
Hey, AJ.
Twilight's mane was a mess and her eyes were puffy.
Twilight, have you been up all night?
I couldn't sleep.
I don't blame you.
Applejack looked around at the messy library.
Come on, I'll fix your breakfast. We'll start again as soon as you get some food in you.
This scene reminds me of Bambi. Quick would just be like, "Why'd you have to go?"
Everything in the forest has its season. Where another tree falls, another grows. Maybe none was there before, but something new and wonderful appears.
But I feel so alone.
I'm always with you, even if you can't see me. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. Hello, it's me.
Okay, anyways, back to work. My ADHD just, had a moment. Okay, here we go. I like Sasha.
I'm just as nice as Blossoming Buttercup. I'm gonna be hardcore. I'm gonna be hardcore.
She's hardcore.
Oh my god, it's literally the only celestial line in this chapter. Gosh dang it, Puffy. Okay, right, never mind. I had 4-5 takes that one line. Now, on to the next character. Which is Twilight. Alright, okay, bye.
Could you quit it? I got a puppy to keep him napping. I got lines to record. Be quiet, you little gremlin. Grumble, grumble, grumble. I hear you. I hear you. Now be quiet. Really? Just keeps going. What is that, a plane? Is that a plane? It's a plane grumble, grumble, grumbling. Yep, that's a plane. Why are you doing this to me? I have one line left. One. Yeah, just keep soaring. Oh boy. Why can't the universe bend to my will? Why isn't it bending to my will, you little Winona? Oh, sweet baby. It's okay. Almost done.
With extreme caution, he approached the element. Jesus Christ, stomach. Can you just frickin' not, like, be so loud? Jeez. The snobbish prince started to bark angrily, but he froze in sheer, utter terror. Chair? Oh my god. No. Am I about to stink up my fucking studio? Really? No, thank god it was a fun fight. Or is it? Oh no.